Hello everyone, this is Mohammad Nasir Firdaus and I am here to welcome you once again in this uh, PowerPoint narration, and today we'll be looking at this particular topic, the sounds in language. We have doing these things in before, like as we have gone through the components of a language, and under components we have found on the sounds, the words, the sentence structures, the meaning, and the language use. And as a successor, we are now looking at the sounds of language, which is more based on the phonetics and phonology. Especially, we are looking at phonology of a particular language. And in this particular slides, you will have lots of information which were taken from George Yule, Peter Roach, Charles of May, and other sources. And of course, the slides are prepared by me, that is Mohammad Nasir Firdaus. So let's start. Let's look at what will be our contents for today's PowerPoint narration. So here are the contents for today's narration. First, we will be looking at phonetics and phonology. We will be trying to identify what is phonetics and what is phonology. Then we'll be going to the differences, how phonetics is different from phonology or phonology is different from phonetics. Then we'll look at the roles of phonetics and phonology in a language, or in other words, we can say that why we need to study phonetics and phonology. That will be our prime concern in this section. And then we will have basic idea on speech organs and speech sounds, and how speech organs and speech sounds are very much related with phonetics and phonology. And today's PowerPoint will end with the branches of phonetics. The major branches of phonetics will be disclosed in this particular section. So let's start with the first one, phonetics and phonology. Very simple, still very complex. Two sections, phonetics and phonology. Phonetics is study of linguistic sounds. What we consider as linguistic sounds. For example, listen this sound. This is the sound of a clap, or this is a sound of a tapping towards or with different kind of object. These sounds are not considered as linguistic sounds. Then what are the sounds we are considering as linguistic sounds? Linguistic sounds is referred to those sounds which exist in a language. For example, the way I am talking about, the sounds I am producing at this moment in order to share the noise, these sounds are the part of a language, and these sounds are referred as linguistic sounds. So under phonetics, we are studying those linguistic sounds, and by saying linguistic sounds, as it is a part of a language, that means we have 6,000 to 7,000 languages existing in this world. So any sound from those languages will be considered as linguistic sounds. So it is not based on a particular language, rather it considers or explores all the languages existing in this world. So under phonetics, we will be looking at the linguistic sounds. That means we will be looking at the properties of the linguistic sounds. We'll be looking at how these sounds are articulated, and we will be trying to identify the sounds only. We will not disclose whether those particular sounds are used in which languages. Rather, we will try to examine those sounds individually. On the other hand, phonology is the study of sound patterns and systems in language. Whenever we are referring as sound patterns and systems, that means we are referring the system of joining or organizing a sound. As we said earlier in other classes, in other PowerPoint narration, that language is all about a system, and language is a system of systems where you will find sound system, word system, sentence structure system, and other systems in there. As like it, under phonology, if we consider any particular language, for example English language, the way the sounds, English sounds are together to make a pattern or make a sound unit is considered as phonology. That's why those sound patterns of English will be considered as English phonology. If we if that is English phonology, we are saying that. If we study on this Bangla sounds, then we need to consider as Bangla phonology. So that's how the phonologies are different. There could be French phonology, that could be Chinese phonology, that could be Arabic phonology. So there are lots of phonologies in there. So phonology is based on a particular language. It doesn't. It will tell you, well, what languages are you talking about, and the minimum sound of a language is referred as phoneme, whether the minimum sound under phonetics is referred as phone. So if you hear a phone, you cannot disclose which sounds the sounds are from which language. But if you hear a phoneme, you can identify, yes, that sounds are from this language or that language. So now, what are the difference between phonetics and phonology? Look closely in this diagram. Phonology, a branch of linguistics, you already know that. And under phonology, we have phonetics and phonemics. So definitely phonetics is a part of phonology, but there is a little bit of confusion in there. Whenever we are looking for a phonology, that means we are disclosing or studying from from the perspective of one particular language. So how come phonetics, which discloses all the sounds existing in all the languages in there, so how come phonology phonetics gets apart from phonology? How does it happen? The situation is, ultimately we are looking at phonology because of what? Because it is mostly we are looking for the languages. Phonetics doesn't cover any language individually. So here we only talk about the individual sounds. So that's how all the sounds need to stay under a language in order to give a particular meaning. So that's why phonetics is under phonology, and phonemics comes from phoneme, as we said earlier. And under phonetics we have these three branches: acoustic phonetics, auditory phonetics, and articulative phonetics. These three branches will be discussed as in the later slides. Now, what are the differences between phonetics and phonology? First one, phonetics is descriptive. That means it will describe the sounds. We have different sounds. We'll be learning about those different sounds in the next slide. Then we'll talk about those. But first, the sounds which we disclose under phonetics is descriptive. Whether phonology is theoretical because these rules of organization and for making a sound unit is defined under different phonology. For example, the organization of English sounds are defined under the English phonology. That's why it is theoretical. Subdiscipline versus major field. That's what we said in this diagram. Phonetics is a subfield of phonology, where the phonology is a major field. General speech sounds versus particular sound pattern analysis. That means phonetics discloses general speech sounds. Generally, it talks about the speech sounds. But whenever we talk about phonology, it talks about particular sound patterns. That means under English phonology, it will talk about the sound patterns of English language. Under Bangla phonology, it will talk about the sound patterns of Bangla language. Audible sounds versus their meanings. Whenever you will be disclosing a particular sound under phonetics, you cannot say what does that mean. Rather, you will just hear the component of the sound. You can hear pa, sa, da, different sounds, but you cannot say what does that mean. But whenever you hear a sound under any particular phonology, then that will disclose a meaning. So that's why we'll be having meaning under phonology. Why that phonetics will disclose only the sounds, the audible sounds, the sounds we can hear. Form versus function. Form refers to structure. Under phonetics, it will discloses the structure of a sound. But under phonology, it will talk about the function. What does it mean? How does it acts? And how does it stays in a sound unit? For example, the way I'm speaking, my utterances is there, though every sound unit refers a meaning. So that's how it has as unique function. Universal versus language specific. Universal means, for example, the sounds we will talk about, it is universal. Universal means it will be similar in all the languages existing in this world. For example, in order to produce pa sound, pa sound, we need to close our lips together. Then we need to release the air abruptly. Pa, pa. You can exercise that and you will find the similar thing. And in every language, if you want to produce pa sound, you need to follow this particular pattern. That's why it is universal. But the sound pattern system is very much language specific. For example, in English language, for an English syllable, you can have only one sound before any plus sound. You can have two sounds. You can have three sounds at least at best. You cannot have more than three sounds before a nucleus in a syllable. That particular specific language knowledge is applicable only in English language. So that's why phonology is language specific. So these are the major differences. There are lots of differences in there. We'll be learning that in other courses. I should tell you that there is a course in your program whose name is Introduction to Phonetics and Phonology. And in this particular course, you will have a detailed and descriptive knowledge on phonetics and phonology. So don't worry about that. So these are the major differences between phonetics and phonology. I believe for this class it will do. So why should we study phonetics? So what are the roles of phonetics and phonology in a language? If you do not have the knowledge of phonetics, then you will not be able to know how sounds are produced, how sounds transmits or waves in the way, and how we receive those sounds through our ear. For example, I am saying these sounds and I am releasing these sounds in the air, in the wave, and your ear receives those sounds as speech sounds, and it breaks the code and gives you the meaning, and then you can understand what does it mean. So for example, CHEF, this particular sound refers as a chef, becomes chef, SEAGH. So you can pronounce the sound chef, but whenever you want to write this particular sound chef, you write in this format, not in this format. How? Take the first sound of the word sure. The first sound is in here is sha. The middle sound of the word dead, a, she, sa, a, she, and the final sound of the word laugh, j is fa. So that means sha, a, fa, chef. So you can write chef in this particular format, later format, SEAGH. But you know this particular spelling is wrong. If you want to produce chef in letters, then you need to produce this one, because from these letters you produce these sounds. And how will you know that? You want to know this thing, then you need to study phonology, because phonology explains why you produce chef of the word chef. As it is different, That means definitely we need a particular system. We need a particular system. Okay, give me a second, please. We need a particular system which is referred as IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet. Though IP also refers as International Phonetic Association, and from the association we have International Phonetic Alphabet, and through that alphabet you can differentiate those particular symbols in different ones. So for example, here these are three different alphabet. For example, you have A, B, C, D in English alphabet. So as like it, you will have sh sound, a sound, and fa sound in IPA. This is another sound alphabet. These are the letter alphabets, these are the sound alphabets. So that's how you can learn. So speech organs and speech sounds. Okay, in a, in a traditional class, I could easily act the way you can find this particular picture. So definitely this is a human being you need to understand, and this is the inside picture of the organs which are responsible to produce sounds. There are lots of the organs in there. So I believe most of you did not find it before this slide. Look at this here. You could have known the nose, the lips, the teeth, and then tongue, and oral cavity and nasal cavity. That's it. But lots of organs are there which produce the sounds, and these organs actually produce the sounds which you use in a language. That's why these organs are referred as speech organs. So we can say that nose is speech organs, lips is speech organs, teeth speech organs, tongue tip speech organs, tongue blade speech organs, glottis speech organs, larynx vocal folds, epiglottis, pharyngeal cavity, tongue bag, uvula, velum, oral cavity, palate, nasal cavity, alveolar, all these organs are referred as speech organs, and through these speech organs we can produce the sounds which are referred as individual sound unit of speech and considered as speech sounds, and those speech sounds are audible, elemental, and acoustic. That means you can hear the sounds, you can and exemplify, or you can and constant this sound, and of course you can receive those sound as well. And any of the sounds in this entire phonic system is system consists a language. So these sounds will enter into a phonetic system and mix with language. That could be Bangla, that could be English, or that could be any other language. So those the sounds we can produce from those speech organs, those sounds can be categorized into two primary major sections under English language. One is vowels and another is consonants. These sections can be found in other forms, other languages like Bangla language or French language or Arabic language. You can find the vowels and consonants are there. So what are the vowels? I know many of you know about the vowel letters, but here we are talking about the vowel sounds, not the letters. So they're different, the sounds and the letters. The letters are 26, but whenever you're talking about sounds, we have 44 sounds. And under those 44, we have 24 consonant sounds and 20 vowel sounds. So if we want to identify vowel sounds are the sounds which are produced with a relatively free flow of air. Free flow of air. So what does it mean by free flow of air? For example, produce a. Say a, a. Okay. Say e. Say o. So if you produce this sound, you have already understood. I'm giving you 10 seconds to produce this particular three sounds: a, e, o. You test this now. 10 seconds. Okay. So I hope you had a great 10 seconds in this long narrative. Okay, so if you consider or if you can act again, you can find that during producing the sounds, you none of your speech organs and clashed with another. But if you produce pass sound, that means your lower lip and upper lip comes together. Or if you produce ta sound, ta, ta, you can see that your tongue curved towards the upper part of your mouth. But producing these sounds, a, e, and o, no speech organ touched with another speech organ. That's why we are saying that free flow of air. The way in which the tongue influences the shape through which the airflow must pass. So your tongue doesn't come to have the obstruction. It becomes in the it stays in the lower part, and it gives the air flowing and passing freely from your mouth. And those sounds are referred as vowel sounds. On the other hand, consonant sounds are produced by using the tongue and other parts. So all the consonant sounds will be constricted from any part of your mouth and will be referred through different cavity, especially oral cavity and nasal cavity, to pass it. That's how your consonant sounds will produce. So now we have another categorization of voiced and voiceless sounds. All the vowel sounds are voiced. All the vowel sounds are voiced, but under consonant sounds, some some consonant sounds are voiced and some are voiceless. So first of all, we need to know what is voiceless and what is voiced. If you can produce these sounds like za sound or va sound, like z or v, these sounds, you can find that there is little bit of friction in your vocal fold, not in your lips, not in your mouth, rather in your vocal folds. So where is your vocal fold? Go back to the previous slides and find the picture and identify the vocal folds or vocal cord. So what happens in there? The air from the lungs passes away, and it becomes unimpeded. Okay, so that's how the sound produced in this way are voiceless. So there is no sounds in there. Okay, I have given you a wrong example in there. Definitely it will be in here, and this will be in here. The voiceless is that means there will be no constriction, no problem in there. There will be a free flow, no vibration will be there. So the example of this one will be in here, and example of this one will be there. Okay, so if we talk about voice sound, when the vocal folds are drawn together, the vocal folds that comes together in there, the air from the lungs repeatedly pushes them apart as it passes through, creating a vibration effect. So whenever we are producing those sounds, that means these sounds, there is a vibration effect in our vocal fold, which is referred as this voice sound. If you consider again the examples like shh or you can find that there is no vibration in the vocal fold. Rather, if we talk about this sound, zzz, or vzz, you can find that the vocal folds is comes together, and there is a vibration effect in there. So these are the sounds we are talking about earlier, the consonant sounds in English: pa, ta, ka, fa, tha, sa, sha, ha, ma, na, unga, cha, ba, da, ga, bha, da, ja, za, la, ra, za. This should be ya, wa, and ja. So these 24 sounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Though there are other sounds in different variety of English language. For example, the English Welsh, the Welsh variation, and in other variant there are some other sounds as well, but these are the basic sounds. These 24 sounds are referred as consonant sounds. For example, pa in the word p, you can find this sound in P. Ta in the word toe, you can find this sound in it. Ka in the word cap. See, though we have the letter C, but we produced ka sounds in there, so that's why this is the IPA alphabet. Ka, a, pa. These T sounds. So all these sounds, all these symbols are referred as the sound symbols. These are these things we are talking about as IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet. And the same, you can find vowel sounds in there. These are the sounds E, A, O, A. So it will be a little challenging for all of you because till now you have identified only 5 vowel letters, but here you have 20 vowel sounds. Letters and sounds are different. We talked this earlier. These are the sounds. These are the sounds. And A, S, I, N. These are the letters. So we are not talking about A, B, C, D, E, F. Rather, we are talking about these symbols. They are very similar to your English letters, but still they are different. All these sounds refer different sounds and referred as vowel sounds in English, because in order to produce this sound, none of your speech organ and obstructs each other, comes closer. It gives free flow. So now we are at the very end of this particular narration. We are having these branches of phonetics. We said that earlier we have 3 branches of phonetics: articulatory, auditory, and acoustic phonetics. Articulatory phonetics is the study of how speech sounds are made, how the sounds are produced, what are the ways how the sounds are produced, from where the sounds are produced, are referred under articulatory phonetics. Under auditory phonetics, it talks about how the sounds, waves, okay, I don't know. I made some mistakes in here. I am extremely sorry for that. Auditory phonetics. This will be auditory phonetics, and this will be acoustic phonetics. Acoustic phonetics is all about, it deals with the physical properties of speech as sound as waves in the air. That is acoustic phonetics. It actually works with the properties of sounds. That could be English sounds, that could be Bangla sounds, but it doesn't talk about the phonology. That means it will not disclose which language are from. And acoustic phonetics is that, and here this will be auditory phonetics. Auditory comes with this with the word audition, and that it actually refers as the perception. Perception means how we receive those sounds, the speech sounds we receive. The thing is that if you are a person, you produce this sound, that means you are articulated, and then after producing, you are throwing it or transmit it in the air. Okay, in the air, you're producing in the air. Then some other person, that could be you, that could be me, some other person from this ear, he actually receives this in his or her ear. Okay, in his or her ear, not this one, in this or her ear. Okay, so and by receiving those sounds, he can understand or decode the sound system into meaning. So that's how a language works: articulatory phonetics, auditory phonetics, and acoustic phonetics. Let's learn that in detail about these branches. So first one is articulatory phonetics. Articulatory phonetics is the study of how speech sounds are produced. So in order to produce speech sound, we have 2 major sections: place of articulation and manner of articulation. Place of articulation refers the organs, refers the uh, speech organs. For example, from where? From the lips. Sounds produced from the lips. So this is a place. So we are referring this place of articulation. And manner of articulation, how these sounds are produced. After the airflow from the lungs, how it comes to the air. So that's how we are referring as the manner of articulation. And stops, fricates, affricates, these are considered as manner, whereas bilabial, alveolar, palatal, is considered as the place of articulation. And then acoustic phonetics. Acoustic phonetics is deals with the transmission of speech sounds. That means how we transmit uh, the sounds into air. We produce pa sound, we produce ta sound, but we then after producing it, we transmit it in the air. That's how it becomes a different sound. For example, we almost produce pa and ba in the same fashion, but one is voiced and another is voiceless. That's how you can identify the differences between pa sounds and ba sounds. At the same time, you can have the difference between a sound and e sound, though there is no obstruction. Still, you can identify because of what? Because of acoustic findings. So we have different measurement. We have different instrument by which we can measure the sounds. For example, we know that we can measure the sound unit. So that's how we can measure the sounds through different instruments like uh, uh, like amplifier or others. Okay, now the last branch of phonetics, we should not say the last one, the remaining branch, that is auditory phonetics. Some experts consider it as perceptual phonetics at its perceived sounds. So we are hearing from the organ, we have ear. So from this we speak sounds. From the traditional five senses, we have the ability to detect sounds. If we don't able to detect the sounds, we cannot separate the sounds. That's one of the problems. For example, in Bangladesh, you can have a different region, different people from different region, they have the lackings of producing different sounds because they don't they cannot, they are not able to detect the sounds, they cannot able to detect the sounds. For example, pa and ha, they cannot have the differences between pa and ha. So that's the problem. So in human beings, hearing is performed traditionally by the ears, through also performs the function of maintaining a balance. So you cannot, if you cannot detect the sound, you cannot use the sound. So it's the whole process. So you cannot escape any of that. You need articulatory, you need acoustic, you need auditory findings to have this one. So these are the three branches of findings. Okay, I believe that's all to have in this particular topic, sounds of language. I believe you have very good knowledge on sounds of language and of course dealing with English language. And these are the references. And this one is a textbook book. You have this book if you requested in the forum. And this is the extra one which I took for the phonetics and phonology. And of course, I have various different sources. Yes, questions. In order to ask question, you need to put it into the forum. So don't create new topic in the forum. If there is already a topic, put your questions in there. If there is not, then we can create a new topic. So thank you very much for the last half an hour you are here. So thank you very much for presenting and watching this narration. Thank you all.